He's guessing how to raise a kid. And what a wonderful bunch of choices he makes. He's a happy guy. My dad was a stressed out guy
Mm.
and happy. And, so, but forgive him and for everything. He's doing the best he can for you. So enjoy him and give him a big kiss. I know he loves getting a good.
You'll give me a big kiss right here. I'll give you one too. There you go. And I said, and I said, "Am I doing it right?" And you said, "No, let me." And you pushed my Adam's apple right through my throat. And I said, "Wow, that is hard to talk like that."
Yeah. Well, now, thanks to science, and it's about being born in the right time. I'm sure if I was in 20 years more alive, whatever, I'm sure they'll figure this out.
True, probably.
But no, we're
So,
living in amazing
I guess
time.
most people would guess it was smoking. What is it?
Oh, you remind me of my dad.
Isn't really making a difference. So let's go there.
Well, those are the Hollywood Hills.
Those are the Hollywood Hills. That's right.
I live in an apartment building on the seventh floor. I've been watching the more important than being. But I love him. I love his kids. I love Threads, um, and all the people in that community.
It's a great
It's
community.
sometime you need to take a break.
Yeah,
But
and so,
always, well, I'll talk on his stage. I'll do whatever, man. I love the guy totally. He's the Keith Richards of public speaking.
well, it's interesting. Sometimes you need to take a break because you're going through some stuff. Other times you have to take a break because you're growing. All right, we have in front of us the amazing Woody Blagman, and guess what, folks? He's on my show, the Dr. Smiley Show, and it's a show that amplifies goodness. It's a show that amplifies leadership and people that just care about making a difference. But I will say they're daring in how they play big. There's a cool movie, The Son of a Woman, where it's about the integrity of actually going the hard road sometimes and being a stand for what you believe in, even if it's not popular. So I'm going to learn a lot about Woody. I just know spiritually we're very connected. And I know that every time I've run into him at an event, I can't get enough of him. We've had dinner together several times, and it is always it's the highlight of the event. Like I don't need to, it's, when you go to an event, you say, check, already got my value, I'm out. Every time I see you at the very beginning, I go, check, I'm good.
Good man, Ken. And I don't want to like slap each other on the back too much, but the thing is, I love your integrity. I love you always do what you say. And I love that you walk the walk of this. To me, I call it the gateway to joy. I'm all caught up in this thing. I've designed this course. I'll talk to you about it when you ask me, but we're in the joy business.
We are. Do you
And
know Barry
it's,
Shore?
you know,
Do you know Barry Shore?
no, I haven't had the pleasure.
Well, Barry Shore is my mentor. And when you mention the word joy, I just know that I have to connect you because he's called the ambassador of joy. Like he's the real deal. Barry Shore.
I want to meet the ambassador.
Oh, and by the way, the ambassador was the one who gave me this card.
Oh, I love it.
So yeah, he's quite the story. He was staying upright, and next thing he knew, he was a quadriplegic, and he was fighting to get his mobility back, and he took a couple years to do so. But someone gave him this card, and this card changed his life and his ability to rebound. And I'm just so grateful that I got to meet him. Are you okay?
Sometimes, I'm between the devil and the deep blue sea with water. Everyone's got to drink 8 glasses of water a day. Good luck with that. I mean, so my liver has suffered or something, or my kidneys.
Yeah, but the
And
water is supposed to be good for the liver and the kidneys. You got to stop drinking
yeah, it does.
water.
It flushes it out, but
Okay.
it's got a side effect that I can choke every now and then
Well,
if
just
I
so you
take.
know, I get choked up when I see you too, Woody. I'm going to bring my son in because He's heading to a is it a Christian camp tonight? Oh, it's Christian laser tag. I've never heard of this combination of Christian laser tag, but okay. But it's at a church. So anyway, I wanted you to meet him and him to meet you, and I'll tell you why. This man right here, he plays big. I want you to hear the show later, and he loves what we're doing, and he wanted to meet you on the show. So, do you have a question for Woody? Do you have any question at all?
Um, how many books do you have, and if not, are you planning on writing a book?
I have, it's funny. I know your dad's a publisher, and I'm a publisher of music, but I have a lot of books.
That is a lot of books. So, since my son's a pianist, and he would appreciate the fact that you guys, who's your favorite group,
Beatles.
and who's your favorite group?
The Beatles.
I mean,
Little brother, I love you.
Yeah, I'm so glad. And by the way, I'm not going to drink any of that water because I heard it's really bad for the liver and the kidneys, so I'm not going to do it. So, I know you typically have your guitar kind of handy. Would you like to show Kenny? Wait, just something that you like a lot? Isn't he awesome?
Oh, I can't sing a Beatles song because we'd have to have rights for that. So I'll just give you a little strum.
That's fine. I think it's not playing because I guess
Baby.
that's awesome. All right. Well, you know what we're gonna do? We're gonna put in the notes the connection to some of the music you've created before. So
Oh, I'm really excited because my dad, I got so much to share with you. And we always meet in hotel lobbies or you're getting up to sell something or I'm selling something. It's amazing the velocity that we meet each other. But um, hopefully, when you're out in California, you'll visit me in LA.
Well, guess what? I'm going to be in California for 4 events. No, 6 events next month. Next month, 6 events.
Oh, well, let's do dinner at
So I will
least.
see you. I will see you. So here's what I want. Kenny got to ask you a question. I want you to give him advice from either what your dad or you would say about what he needs to think about doing with his life. And then number two, you can ask any question you want because he's gonna take off to the to what is it called?
Uh,
Laser tag. Laser tag for Christians. That's what it is. Oh, just laser tag. Okay.
Just as long as there's no rounding up of the Jewish people. Any game is fun. Anyway, I will tell you this, young man. Your dad doesn't know what he's doing. He's guessing how to raise a kid. And what a wonderful bunch of choices he makes. He's a happy guy. My dad was a stressed out guy
Mm.
and that. And, so, but forgive him and for everything. He's doing the best he can. Yeah. So enjoy him and give him a big kiss. I know he loves getting a good.
You'll give me a big kiss right here. I'll give you one too. There you go. We have a rule. We don't ever leave the house without saying goodbye with a kiss. That is our rule. So I will dig deep and we'll have a great show. I'll let him hear it later. I just wanted him to meet you and vice versa because you're very important to me.
All right. Well, have a good time at the game, son.
he's he's happy to meet you. You can tell. A fellow Beatle. I mean, what are the odds, right?
I'll tell you, the Beatles, they have a great marketing system. They keep on finding these songs.
Did you see that movie with the guy that gets struck by lightning and all he was
Oh yeah.
wasn't that a great movie?
Oh yeah.
So this show is a kind of a wacky show. It's called 12 to 120. So you can go 12 minutes or you can go 120 minutes. And it's not going to go 120 because I do have to take my son to the laser tag. And by the way, I think they're letting some Jewish people play too. So it's going to be good. So you
Tell you, a lot of anti-Semitism out there now, and I hope.
no, you know what? It's sad because it's not just that. Hate is just a poison thing. And if it's not towards one, it's towards everybody. Seriously. You know that thing that they say, what however you do one thing, you do everything. Well, if they hate Jews or they hate blacks or they hate anybody, they hate everybody. I mean, they can't handle differences.
But I always think the good start is to admit I'm a racist. You know, it was beaten into me early in the Bronx. Although I have another friend that his dad was black and his mom was white. And this guy was my bestie.
Mm.
But we had those things in the Bronx at the time. You were in a gang, which I was at how old you get? 10?
He's 11 and he turns 12 June
Yeah,
15th.
11. Yeah, I was 14. I was sniffing glue in a gang. So yeah, I've done some crazy shit. Also, I'm 42 years sober. Um, I can't say the program. It's
You know what I loved is when we had dinner that night. I said, "Hey, congratulations on I think it was 41 years at that point." I said, "Congratulations, 41."
yeah.
And you said, "Yeah, I picked a bad week to stop sniffing glue." And I always love that about you.
Well, that really showed. I was one latchkey kid. My parents had a divorce. They used to fight. My mom's dad used to beat her, and my mom would beat me. It's this family dysfunction handed on from one generation to the next. And when I did stop all that 42 years ago, life has been an exciting journey. But then I wanted to kill myself,
When
obliterate.
so you wanted to kill yourself before the 42 years or after the 42 years?
I'll tell you, my body keeps breaking down. It's any time now.
So you're doing some really big things.
Life is such a gift,
It is.
and
By the way,
every day,
I want to cut in and just tell you this.
baby.
When someone says the word joy, I say very short. When someone says life is a gift, I always say my mom. If my mom hadn't gotten Alzheimer's and I wasn't a caregiver for 3 years, I wouldn't have gotten the message she gave me before she passed, which is life is precious. Take care of your life, make your life count. So,
When my grandmother Boo Boo was on her deathbed, she said, "I don't want to leave this wonderful, wonderful world."
that's
And
beautiful. And then she passed.
yeah,
I saw my mom pass. I mean, it's a crazy thing when you're so close to someone and you actually watch them. I've seen this twice. My brother, who, by the way, there's a big ALS event next Friday. I wish you were in town. If you were in Baltimore, DC area, I'd invite you as my guest. I'm the photographer, but I lost my brother to ALS about a year and a half ago, and it's an event to raise money for ALS. So um, that was the second person I got to see on his bed, and just it's the weirdest thing to watch someone live and then not.
my dad too. I'm running his music company. I mean, I've made it my own, but I was visiting him in New Jersey. They moved him to the actors and musicians beautiful place. Um, and I'm glad they took him in. And my brother Teddy was giving him marijuana gummies. So dad was very cheery. And it was great to talk about like that father son, bonding we always try to do.
Right.
Um, whether we're good at it or we got hurt at it or need to do it again. Um, but they always live in us. You know, the other day I was thinking I was acting like my mother. So life's interesting, right?
Yeah. And by the way, I love the light behind your head. I just want to say I love it. I'm going to tell you why I love it because you are light. And I want to say something. A lot of people that I've had on my show, they don't, I mean, you love your neck. I mean, you always are touching your neck. And I just want to tell you, I appreciate, I want you to touch your nose sometimes too. I mean, give some other parts of your body some
Oh
love.
no, Ken, you don't understand. This is a hole in my neck.
I do not understand that, young man. I understand that.
So I had throat cancer 11 years ago and they removed my larynx. So it's been an amazing adventure being disabled. And because those of us that had a throat, and I'm going to share something I never share, but I've had dreams over the last 11 years where I thought I had my voice back. And
Really?
I will, oh, shit.
Well, the one thing that was hard for me to get over when I first met
But
you,
that's acceptance. That's just comes with the territory.
it does. But do you remember the first time we met? I watched you do this, and I said, and I said, "Am I doing it right?" And you said, "No, let me." And you pushed my Adam's apple right through my throat, and I said, "Wow, that is hard to talk like that."
Yeah. Well, now, thanks to science, and it's about being born in the right time. I'm sure if I was in 20 years more alive, whatever, I'm sure they'll figure this out.
True, probably.
But no, we're
So,
living
so
amazing
I guess
time.
most people would guess it was smoking. What is it?
Oh, you remind me of my dad. He said to me, I was bitching one day and I said, Dad, I can't believe it. I'm 40 years sober. No, I was like 38. And I said, this is what God gives me. And I said, I've been off cigarettes for however long it was,
Right.
30 years. And he said, but how about the glue? And I was a big glue sniffer as a kid.
Were you?
Yeah, I had about a year, and glue is very much a hallucinogen.
Mm-hmm.
So later on, and I've gone through several recoveries in my life from drugs. I mean, your kid's 11.
Right.
4 years later, added to your kid, and I was injecting methadone with
What
some crazy
what
cat
is that?
speed.
Speed. Well, I was doing the glue all wrong. I was putting it in my nostril. I couldn't breathe, and I just so I so before the show, you told everybody that you I said my hair, your hair, and you said I can fix that for you. You said you were going to give me one of these things, the glue right in my head, and I was like, this is that glue thing again.
Maybe I'll start saving stuff for my barber and just, with the new tariffs, women of color are concerned with having the hair from India coming in. The wig making
Oh yeah,
is very expensive. It's like I said, it's like watching the parade of people come and go. But, I want to just say one thing about this joy that everyone that I'm with knows I'm with, and I'm cheery to them anyway. But I did this course called Your Gateway to Joy. I want to make it available to your guests.
yes.
I have an online version of that's for free. You can watch it. Then I have another one that's better for $10.
Mhm.
And 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 then we'll do a workshop. That'll be like $200. So when you get, and I'm just going to explain in a nutshell, it's 100 of your goals and dreams. It's 30 of your regrets and sorrows. It's your top 10 shameless, what you'll go to the grave with, never tell anyone. The other one is who do you owe an amend to?
Mm.
And the other one is what is your destiny?
And how'd you come up with this?
And I've cleaned it, like I say in the video, if you want to play any part of it. But first of all, I took est in the 70s in
Yeah.
San Francisco. So I already had like a transformation. Um,
Can
and
you
then I
stick with it to
building
landmark?
my skills from there.
Did you stick with it to landmark education? Did you keep going with it?
Yeah, I was certified as a guest seminar leader.
I was too.
And oh yeah. So that's really about loving people
Yeah,
and being
ILP, baby.
yeah, right. So and then when I got sober, the 12 steps are very transformational as well.
Yeah,
Even if you're an atheist, we make it work.
you make it.
And so 4 years ago, I developed this course and I've been doing beta versions of it in Kenya, and a lady in Scotland, a lady in England, a lady in New Jersey, Pennsylvania, New York, all over the place. And so anyway, it's the goals, it's the sorrows, and then it's a written exercise. So you do it in your book, and the one that's online is just a wide brush, but you'll get it all. You
All right.
you get this either way.
So tell you
You
what.
know, even from what I'm telling you, you don't have to do anything if you do those things. But it's good to go with a guide, and I'm sort of your guide and the gateway to joy.
I know you are, and Woody. Here's what I want to say. I want to go into that a little deeper, a little later. I want people to know who you are, and I'm going to tell you why. I know you, and anything you say I should do, I would do because I trust you, and I know you have my
Same
well,
here.
and you have my well being in mind. Um, the issue is that when you're so excited about something and people don't know your journey and they don't know your credentials, you've lived big, you play big, you're doing all these great things. Would you please share with the audience? I know you had obviously a questionable childhood that could cause anyone to say, I'm going to go the wrong direction. But you've done some really big things. So talk about the business, the Hollywood, the big movies you're involved in, because that's a testament to someone that is stepping up and going beyond their fears and really making a difference. So let's go there.
Well, those are the Hollywood Hills.
Those are the Hollywood Hills. That's right.
I live in an apartment building on the seventh floor. I've been watching the fires, and we had a little fire in Hollywood.
Good one.
Man,
Have you ever
so
been to the Oscars before?
where?
Have you been to the Oscars? Bless you, by the way. Bless you.
Um, but anyway, I was living in Fort Collins, Colorado, and I was, I went to Antioch College. It's a school not that many know about, but it's very liberal. And they allowed us to smoke in class. So I'm so glad of that. But they sent us out on work, credit deals. And I was with the USDA, Department of Agriculture. I was attached to them.
Hmm?
And I it's really crazy. You asked the question, right? Cut it out if you don't like it.
No, let me say this. I know you're straying a little bit. This is not your only show. For me, if you say my throat's kind of had it and we're going to do another show, you can be on my show as many times as you want because I love you.
Oh, all right. No, I'm good. I'm good.
Okay.
But anyway, I was saying this story in Colorado, the weather is such that it could be 70 degrees and there's snow on the ground from
Right.
a couple of days before. So I was in this federal national forest in Fraser Park, Colorado, on a ski do, with a forest ranger hat on. But I took all my clothes off because I wanted to get a tan, and it was beautiful. And I got in an accident with the snowblower. I went in between two trees, and I hit another one, and it went down like 10 feet. That's how deep the snow was. I was so glad when the Rangers came with the moon machine and found me.
Wow. So if they didn't find you, you would have not done well.
I would have been a popsicle. So,
Well,
it's amazing when we're born, all the chances, the sperm and the egg, and how lucky we are to be here.
how about the Angels?
Hell's Angels.
I don't know who they are, but I'm telling you
And
what.
not for my bad security,
Well,
please.
let me say this, Woody. Let me say this. And by the way, if we do more than 4 shows, we'll just title it the Woody and Dr. Smiley Show or something like that. But
I love that. I'll
so,
do whatever you want, Ken.
well, I want to say that, if you've done drugs and you've done all these things that have kind of been risk to your life, you had angels watching out for you. I mean, you couldn't be on the show if you didn't have somebody watching out for you. I mean, whether you call it angels or not. But I also want to say there's another angel for us. It's the people that put us together. And, I'm lucky that I met you. And we can be traveling and not meet people. We can also overlap and later find out, man, we were right next to each other one time. And Craig Duswalt has this event called Rock Your Life, and I've run into you 3 times because of that. And by the way, no other event has put me with you 3 times, but the third time was the charm. We had dinner and we went, like, the dinner was explosive. And it wasn't because we threw food at each other. It's because we really went deep in our conversation.
I'm
But
always open to great restaurants,
yeah, but
company. Yeah.
I'll just say, when you said that we're having dinner and I had dinner with you, and I have to say, really from the heart, it was such a spiritual and I mean, it was such a really cool and intimate and cerebral conversation we had. We, we're like, we knew each other for a long time. I mean, it's just that simple to put.
Yeah, it's like you just, and even even though you may not know anything, when we open up the heart a little bit, people step right in. Unless they're really angry and you can't cure everything. And they have a right to be angry. I let people be who they are. That's one of the keys to my joy is accepting all, and
I love how you put that key, because it's unlocking the fact that you deserve it. It's unlocking the fact that you have access to it. That was beautiful. So I'll tell you what, I want to have this show be one of many. So I'm going to actually have it culminate with some lessons or some. I know that we have the app and we're going to put a link to this app. And the app I will check out myself, but here's what you're looking at. He's giving you a free access to something that accesses to joy. And anybody that gives you access to joy, I got news for you. That's God saying that's why you're living. And whether you believe in God or not, if you're in joy, you're actually living life. You're living life. And that's what it's supposed to be.
Ken, whether I believe in God or not, if there is one, I hope he believes in me. I'm a gambler. I might do my bet on that one.
That's nice. I heard a
But
funny.
I let people be who they are.
Well, yeah, exactly. And by the way, if I said people that look better than me with the hair on their head was not going to be on my show, then I wouldn't have you on my show. So that's.
Oh, you have a perfect head. It is Zen perfection. I love it. And my dad, oh my gosh, Norman used to like wrap his head on like a turban
Yeah.
and like the president, I suspect. But hey man, we play the hand we're dealt.
So
And when
I
voices comes, I will jump right through. Let's go.
so I have a couple of questions, and I have, I guess, some minor humorous epiphanies. So one is, I was talking to a friend of mine. He's trying to help me. My office is stagnant because I do all this national stuff. My local office is pretty much a ghost town, and I waste probably about 3,000 a month keeping it open. But I keep it open because of a friendship I have. 44 years, this man's been DJing for a company that I had before I took care of my mom. So please understand this. If I didn't take care of my mom and I didn't have my mom have Alzheimer's, I'd probably still be a DJ. Isn't that funny? So my mom awakened me. And here's the deal. He took care of my business while I actually checked out what I was supposed to do. Well, this guy that was supposed to come over and help me yesterday, he said, I said, hey, it's raining here. It's this horrible weather. I don't feel like going out to the office. Can we do another day? Because he was going to redesign my office and do all this remodeling. And I said, he says, yeah, it's a good day for Netflix. And I said, awesome. I'm glad you feel the same way I do. I'm going to watch Netflix. You watch Netflix. He says, no, I'm tired. Netflix is going to watch me. And then the other one I want to give you, because I want you have funny things to say all the time. So I'm going to give you two in a row so you can give me some zingers back. Okay. So there are three kinds of people in the world. There are three kinds of people in the world. You ready? People that can count and people that can't.
Yeah. And that's the third. And
Tell me. That's it.
well, I've been doing stand-up comedy too. There's a delicatessen down the street called Canners. And before some comedian got into a fight with the waiter, it was a great place to get in front of people and, share your story, make them laugh if it's supposed
so,
to, if
so it's not anymore.
supposed to flop powerfully. And there's some of the building. I've been going through a lot of physical stuff. And that's been really beneficial to me. I had a clogged artery in my heart, so it was about 80% blocked. So I had to get that taken care of, and
Yeah, but
all the little things that happen when you were sniffing glue at 15. I'm sure ripped out so much wiring of good enzymes. Who knows?
yeah, but for someone that's had
I take it as it comes.
yeah, but you had an 80% block and you're sitting on this show and you're talking as if you didn't. That's a miracle.
You know, I'd say something, Smiley. It's all about loving people. I go in there and I say to the nurse, I'm going to be really a good patient. And I've been shooting them taking care of me on my video phone. And people are great. People want to be loved. People want you to say good morning.
They do. And I love
Women
I love what
like
you
when
did.
you hold the door. I mean, the new kids, but even then, I extend people my courtesy, my manners.
Okay, so it's not the new kid's fault though. It's not
Never.
the new kid's fault. I'm going to tell you why it's not. I mean, it's like blaming someone for hatred. It's all programming. So, and by the way, my son has to be taught just like any other kid. You hold the door open for a woman, you hold the door open for your mommy, you hold the door open for people you respect. And he still is learning and he does get it sometimes and he doesn't other times, but you say, thank you, sir, or you show you respect. And there's nothing but that. But I want to say I loved your video where you took the paper and you pulled it and everything stayed on the tray. That was really great because you did that for entertainment for the nurse. I could tell you did that. And by the way, Barry Shore would love that. And Barry Shore did the same kind of things. The other thing I loved is you went to this restaurant and you told how you always get this meal and you love this meal and you want to get this meal, but today you got the lentils and you really spent some time on that lentils. I love that.
That's a great Greek restaurant, Papa Christos here in LA.
We're going there. We're going there.
Yeah, it's the great lamb chops and
Oh, and it's your treat, by the way. If I'm spending
lentil
600,
soup.
yeah, but if I'm spending $600 to get out to that restaurant, you're buying the soup.
Yeah, and I love you, baby. Is there anything else that we haven't covered?
Yeah, there's two things, just two things. Well, there's a total of seven actually. Two things are big, and five are just trivia questions. So two big things. What what would you like to share with the audience that they could do bigger and better in 2025 based on some epiphanies or wisdom you have for them?
Well, first off, I always start from this baseline. You're a success already. You're alive. You've managed so far on your own. kiss yourself. You know, I do mirror work in the Gateway to Joy. And I just say like, be good to you. And all the heavy hitters, Seinfeld, they'll all tell you it's all about flopping. It's all about loving that. And I know so many guys that are dead. I know about 6 people that have killed themselves over the last 40 years. And
Which one affected you the most?
excuse me.
Which one affected you the most?
Well, my buddy Steve, he he had a hernia and he was a junkie. He was a lifelong methadone user. And methadone is incredibly difficult to get off. And it stays in your bone marrow. The detox from methadone is 2 months of
Hmm.
agony. So he chose his lifestyle and he came back into my life and I was so grateful. And I don't really have opinions about drugs unless you want to stop and then I'll talk about heartfelt stuff, not admonishing someone,
This is your show, brother.
you
You
know.
talk about what you want to.
So you know, when I always learned my best lessons in business was through failure. Um, but can I did I answer it correctly? I don't know.
There's no correct
Everyone
answer.
finds their way and trust it. Trust it when you're lost. I'm really excited for you, Ken, having your wonderful Ken 3. Uh, I mean, what a gift. I mean, you get to be with a kid in magical thinking land until until you work and go to,
Yeah, but
school.
but but here's the deal. Everyone who has a kid has that opportunity. It's who chooses it. And I want to say something to you. You have had a tremendous amount of experimentation and addiction in your life. And I want to tell you something. I wouldn't be any different than you, but my dad said a couple magic lines that caused me to just have a different decision. And he was
What were they, Ken?
no, but it's a funny thing that my dad said to me. I said, I want to, he says, you're not going to try drugs while you're under my roof. And I said, but I want to try them. I want to see what they're like. And he says, you want me to tell you what they're like? And I said, no. He said, why do you want to know what they're like? And I said, because I want to know if I like them. He says, I'll save you the guessing game. You'll love them. You'll get addicted to them and they'll take your life over. He had never done one drug or one cigarette in his life. He said, if that's what you want to try them for, I can save you the guessing game. But what a wise thing to say to somebody, because it actually caught me off guard. I didn't know that he would answer so truthfully. Like, of course I'm going to love it.
And from that, you'll remember that conversation for the rest of your life. It's already added to who you are.
Right.
And so, your dad got the job done. And you're passing on to your son. So
Yeah. And by the way, he did the best he could. I'm doing the best I can. I hope my son can do the best because fatherhood and parenthood is actually something that evolves. I mean, no one does it right. I mean, like you said to my son, no one does it right. You're just doing the best you can.
you
And
just got to forgive the old man.
I gotta forgive the old man. Well, that was one part. The second part is you are the ultimate storyteller. I'd like to have you indulge in any story you want to tell, any story at all, just for the audience, because we have umpteen amount of shows we're going to still do together. But tell either a favorite story or a story that just comes to mind because of this conversation we've had today.
I grew up in a very violent household. I have a stepbrother through a first marriage that was put up for adoption um, and was brought into the home of a raging, angry person, yelled at every day. My home had alcoholism in it, violence, humiliation, and that is a long reconstructive road. And one of the last, then I, went through years and years in rehab and, doing these steps and recovery programs. And I could never get over my relationship with my mother and the way that every time I saw her, she would tell me a story about how much she hated my father.
Mm.
And it was like, Mom, I've heard this all my bleep life. And when I accepted her for that, she'd say, don't you want to hear about your father? I go, Ma, talk about whatever you want. No matter what I say, you're going to say what you say. And she went on and called him an asshole or something. And then again, she said, you want to hear something about your father? I'm going to cut this down as short as I can. But she said, when we were honeymooning, we were in the South. And down in Alabama, your father ran into a little black kid. I went, oh no. He goes, yeah, the kid was like 11, like your guy. And my father, the farmer came out, and the lady came out, the mother, and told my dad to leave. My dad said, no, I'm not going to leave. I want to wait and see what's happening with the lad. And so the police came and they said, you can go, sir. My dad said, no, I want to know. So it goes on. He goes to the hospital. The doctor comes out and tells him the kid's going to be all right. And, uh, then they left. So my mother then says, that's why I loved your father.
That is so
I had to
beautiful.
wait 50 years for the love.
So,
But once you let them be the way they are and be willing to listen to the truth, amazing times lie ahead.
well, thank you for that ending because I was about to ask you, can you please pick a story about love? But that is actually beautiful because it's Valentine's weekend. So, first of all, I
I
love you.
love women. I love women.
Well, and I
Yeah.
love you, and you're not even a woman.
Everyone that is, I love every one of them that contributed to me and love the guy that wasn't so lovable. I'm so grateful to them all.
Well, I was going to ask you a question that was going to be a little sticky after that story, but now the story ended up being such a beautiful finish. So here's the question I have for you. Your mom loves you, right?
She was great when she was on her deathbed, and I'll show her a video snippet at some time. I would sing, I'd play guitar to her. I would tell her how much I loved her, and my ex-wife came and said goodbye, and then she died. They called us up the next day that she passed, and I would see all the past harm she did. She couldn't help it. She couldn't help it. And I finally got to forgive her and get free of her death, which is just another transformation. So it was just wonderful. And she was tired, 92,
Wow, 92. Wow.
all the shit's worn out. Come on, give it a break.
Well, Woody, she loved you and
Oh,
you
mom was great.
and she couldn't love you if there wasn't the father. Like in other words, you exist because of two people that get along or don't get along, but there's a magic that happens when some child, even if it's not having the best childhood, it's that kid can become anybody in the world, anybody.
Well, I believe that, that we're really born out of adversity.
Mhm.
And the style and the way that we choose to do it or to enrich ourselves in wealth or enjoy, um, that's on you.
All right, so you ready for the five finished questions? So they're quick questions to you and they're quick answers to me. In other words, this is not a long dialogue. This
Okay.
is a wrap up.
No,
So here's the wrap up. I'm going to ask you five, six, seven questions. The faster you answer, and the more questions I ask you. Ready for this?
sounds good.
Okay. What book changed your life?
Yeah. The
Which one?
big book of AA, reading that was a real eye opener about learning about that.
That's awesome. What movie inspires you?
What movie? There is so many great movies.
You can give three. Give three.
Okay, Days of Wine and Roses, with Jack Lemmon and Lee Remick. Um, Mean Streets, Robert De Niro.
Yep.
Um, and then I'm, I'm, the Beatles. Hell, Hard Day's Night.
Wow.
I,
Do you know Hard Day's Night? That was the number one song when I was born. The day I was born, that was the number one song.
oh, so you were born in 63.
64.
Four. Yeah.
So you had a lovely woman before the show get you set up and everything. You're welcome to give a shout out to her and anybody else you'd like to give a shout out to.
Um, well, I'd like to give a shout out to the new president. I hope he has some wisdom, some good. The country, I don't like seeing people so at odds with each other.
Mm-hmm.
And uh, it's all about loving and joy.
Speak.
And we got to grant that to any political party. I don't want to hate. And I think America really needs to focus on what's good. Why don't we look at the good? We're so fast to judge people. There's a Jewish joke. The lady's in the kosher butcher, and she goes, "Give me that chicken. I want to smell it." She smells it. She goes, "This chicken stinks." And the butcher says, "Lady, could you pass an exam like that?" And we have to look into us, look into our hearts, instead of blaming and shaming. And, I don't peddle any of that shame, guilt, or anything. My students are loved, and I expect them to pass it on.
That's beautiful. How about Craig Duswalt? You want to say anything to him?
Craig is a prick.
How did I know that would be the first thing?
I love Craig. Um, I went with 4 years with Craig. And there was one point where the roller coaster stopped and I got off because I felt it was too much of him in my head. And I'm an artist. I got to keep my head clean. I got to, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I didn't feel like selling was more important than being. But I love him. I love his kids. I love Threads, um, and all the people in that community.
It's a great
It's
community.
sometime you need to take a break.
Yeah, and
Always, well, I'll talk on his stage. I'll do whatever, man. I love the guy totally. He's the Keith Richards of public speaking.
well, it's interesting. Sometimes you need to take a break because you're going through some stuff. Other times you have to take a break because you're growing too much. I mean, there's nothing wrong with taking a break. I mean, I did Landmark. I took a break and then I came back. I mean, it's the nature of how big are you playing. The bigger you play, the more you got to take a break to get it to master a bit. So that's understandable.
And then also I'm 72.
You look
And
71, by the way. I just want to give you that compliment.
I'll take it. I'll take what you. But there are only a certain amount of hours in a day, and we have to treasure them. And I like what John Lennon said because he was a dreamer,
He was.
and I like to be into the dream.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that's why I was so hell-born for narcotics, to get into that dream state.
Yeah.
And as I grew up, you let go of things like that if you're fortunate. Um,
Are you ready for the last couple questions?
yeah, I'm sorry.
Hey, there's no apologies needed on this show. You're sharing your being love. So here are the last questions. Number one is
It's,
what song gets you going? What's your favorite song? And again, I know you're a music guy, so if you want to give two or three, that's fine. Can I predict one? I mean, are you a Van Morrison fan?
Oh man, I love Van. I lived with a drummer that was a tour drummer for Van Morrison. I knew him well. Van the Man.
Yeah,
And he says it all.
I love his music. You
Yeah.
seem like, are you a Bob Dylan fan too?
Very big Dylan fan. I have some Dylan stories because the guy that I lived with for 5 years was his session drummer.
Hmm.
So LA is very star-studded. And I've been here, I know so many actors and so many, I've met them or had conversations or
Right.
even with Arnold Schwarzenegger when he was having lunch, I barged in on him, was videoing. I don't know where the video went, but
All right.
it's,
So,
it's our town. I
so,
can't wait to
so you
come a
didn't
week.
answer the question though. What song? What's your favorite song? What's your favorite artist or two? I know Beatles is one. You give me one or two more since you're into music so much.
Um, well, I am I am now the keeper of my dad's record library of 200
Yeah,
records.
huge.
Uh, so it's I'm gonna go with an Elvis song that
I
we
knew you were
wrote
gonna do that.
called "Give Me the Right." The other ones, I love the March of the Toreadors from the opera Carmen. Love opera. And then the other one is an AC/DC song that I've had this CD in my car for years,
Song.
uh, called Hellbound Train.
I
And I
don't.
bought the CD in Thailand for $2, but
That's
I
that's
it's
interesting. I thought it.
four.
I thought of everything by AC/DC. I don't know that one. That's pretty crazy. Hey, for the Beatles, what's your favorite song?
That really, when you get right down to it, it's all you need is love.
That's a great one.
That one really is a full expression of what they were about and what my life is about. Is at the
Well,
bottom of the day, you could be having the worst conversation with someone, and if you just say, you know what, we disagree, and I love you.
man, that is beautiful. Since you're a Beatles fan, my son's a Beatles fan. I'm a Beatles fan. I'm gonna tell you the two that I like the most. Number one is The Night Before. Do you remember that one? And the other one is While My Guitar Gently Weeps, even though it's more of a George Harrison song. I just love that song so much.
Well, the night before, I have a friend. Oh no, little Stephen, Bruce Springsteen's guitar.
Yep, I remember.
He says that is when the Beatles were their most pure state.
Yes.
Where, those harmonies, like in the night before,
Yep.
oh,
But that
well,
didn't hit very big, but it was such a remarkable harmonious song. And you know, uh,
oh.
to your point, Gandhi says that happiness is when what you think and what you say and what you do are in harmony. And that was the most I mean, that song, they were rocking that song.
Well, that was a tragedy for me when I lost my voice. I was a teacher, I was teaching real estate agents how to produce more revenue.
Hmm.
And that was my mantra, man. I was like, when I bought the Keller Williams franchise, I was 40, and I gave it like 15 years. I ended up opening four of them: Santa Monica, Westwood, Marina Del Rey, and a little office in Culver City. I hired an office that was all African American. The buzz got around that Woody's office was a place to be. It's great agents. I loved coaching and consulting people so much for those 15 years. I brought it into my private life, and I started consulting people that weren't real estate agents.
Do you talk to
Uh,
Gary?
what?
Do you talk to Gary Keller?
Gary and I played together at what they call the family reunions, the conventions. But uh, yeah, I was playing on my Les Paul, and
Oh, that's
we're
amazing.
also he trained me. I went to a couple of classes with Gary, and I recommended a book to him that I want to recommend to you because he was having problems with his kid. Forget this part. But anyway, he was having a challenge in an area with a father and son issue. And he mentioned it from the stage, so I'm not telling any secrets. But I told him he should read the book Iron John. In fact, I think I gave him a copy and he
Mm.
read it and he sent it back. He said, thanks. And it's all about liberating a little boy into being a young man. And check it out. My poetry mentor at Antioch was Robert Bly, and
Mm.
he's gone through that.
Well, I have a gentleman who's just signed in with Perfect Publishing. He's doing a book, and he is a real estate person, and he thinks the world of Gary Keller. And I don't know if you'd have any way of connecting them, but he would like to choose Mr. Keller for doing the forward of his book. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. You never know. You know, if you don't put it out there, you can't have it happen.
You know what? I met this guy at a Gary Craig Deswald event. He was his African cat, and he was worth like billions. And I said, I'd love to get this guy's real estate business. And I went up to him, being a driver. That's what
Mhm.
we do. We
Yeah.
drive.
Right.
People crazy too. And I said to him, I'd love to get your business, man. You were fucking, you know how I am. I just get real down and gritty with the guy. And he's like, oh, yeah, man. He goes, I don't do business with people until they call me 32 times. I mean, the guy told you what it's going to take.
Exactly. It's too
And you
easy.
know what? I said, forget it. I ain't going to do
You know what I was going to do if I had heard that, I would have said, "What's your number?" And I would have just hit him until he answered.
it. Yeah, when I have a robot dialing him. Hello, sir.
No, I wouldn't even do the robot thing. I mean, I would actually say, "This is one. This is two." So here we go. Last two questions. You ready?
Yes, sir.
Who's your hero?
I'd have to say my dad.
That awesome.
He and I fought. Um, he didn't fight me about not going to Vietnam, but we fought. And I always felt that he screwed my mother over in the divorce. And she left the winner and she was crippled. That was a hard hate to get over with the old man.
Mm.
That's why I said that to your son. Be patient, be loving. And it took almost until the end of his life. I mean, I bought him the S training as a present,
Hmm.
and he didn't say that it was nothing. So, which really made me feel, but the end of the day is we go on a journey in life, and what we got to do is love.
And the last question for you: what quote do you live by?
I believe in doing the right thing, not the easy thing. And I believe that my integrity is not for sale. Um, and it helps to have an open mind because everything could be to your benefit if you look at it right.
Yeah, that was
You
beautiful.
not be able to control the circumstance, but we can control how we choose to act.
So that's the longest quote I've ever heard anyone say on my show ever. shorten that quote up for the next show. Anyway, everything you said was um, perfectly said and definitely a way to live. But I want to hear a quote from you because we're going to put the quote in the book. That's why I'm asking that. But you don't have to do it now. Here's the deal. The deal
What
is
about what?
just
Uh,
you're so I have I would say Gandhi's message of my life is my message. I just really relate to that because the way you live your life is your message to life. So I dig that one. I also like the one I said earlier about the happiness. Happiness is what you think and what you say and you do are in harmony. That's just a cool way of putting how life works.
but we're saying a lot of words, Ken. I mean, not Ken, Kenny. Yeah, we're saying a lot of words, but the fact is, the love
Mm-hmm.
is in place. It doesn't. That's why I find when I interview people, when I talk to people, I can ask them anything if you do it with love.
Right.
I don't want to like be the guy that hurts you. I want to be the guy that loves you.
And by the way, I want to apologize for hurting you so much on that quote comment. So, how do people reach you? How do people connect with you?
Um, I have, I have a corner on Santa Monica Boulevard. That's where the male hustlers are.
Yeah, that's nice. That's nice.
$10. No, people connect with me through the Gateway to Joy, or Woody at woodyblagman.com. You can reach me, or
Yeah,
we're,
we'll put the link for that. Is what's the website again?
um,
That's gateway.
well, I have
Your gateway to joy.
your
Your gateway to
gateway.
joy.com.
It's got to be yours. It's your gateway to joy.
Yes. And
Because
thank you.
there's a lady that has a course called Gateway to Joy. It's not the same.
Yeah. So we're gonna make it your gateway to joy. And so Woody, thank you so much for being on the show. Thank you for being a friend.
And
Um,
you're an angel for putting up with me.
happy Valentine's Day. Happy Valentine's weekend. And
Yes, darling.
yeah, this is that's the Woody I know. So we're gonna have you back on the show because this show is not complete. It's just part of the journey of joy.
And that's the thing I love about the course that I do. I don't want to keep plugging it, but once like people get on the journey and you stay in communication with them, gosh, you got a powerful
But
family.
when's the next event? Is there an event you're having?
I'll let you know. I'll give you the updates.
I mean, if you're going to tease us with, we're going to meet all these joyous people. I want to meet them.
And maybe we could do when you're in town.
I would love that. I will be in town in LA on the 4th and 5th of March and 6th, and I'll be back again in San Diego area, not quite LA, but I'm landing in LA for a minute around 11 o'clock on the 23rd. The 23rd, I'm landing in LA. So,
We may not have time, but do quick dinner. No,
yeah, it'll be an early dinner at 11 o'clock in the morning, but it'll be.
here we go. We call that punch.
God
All right,
bless
well,
you.
say goodnight to the little man for me, and I love you.
I love you too. Take care.